Hello and welcome to Deepdale Podcast. It's the run-up to Deepdale Festival, and we always sit down and chat with various different artists who are playing at the festival. This year we have about 16 or 20 different artists that I'm going to catch up with, so this will end up being a 4, maybe even 5-part podcast with lots of different artists talking about their creative process and gigging live, and us playing some samples of their music. This first one, I'm talking to Paulusma, to Matt Watson, to Phoebe Austin, Lewis Buxton from Toast Poetry. So enjoy the listen, and we hope you'll come back and listen to the other parts of this Deepdale Festival special podcast.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of samphire, sea, lavender, see you next year.
I'm chatting with Polly, and I've just checked how to pronounce her surname, and it's Paulusma. So you basically leave out the second U. So if any of you are coming to the festival and need to know how to pronounce that, or you're going to see her performing one of her many gigs over the next 30 days with Catherine Williams, then that's the way to pronounce it. And I'm really, we're all really excited because Polly is playing on the Thursday in the Brick Barn. And it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic evening at the Deepdale Festival. And thank you so much for joining me on the Deepdale podcast, Polly. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's great. Great to be here, Jason.
Polly is surrounded by lots of musical equipment because she's about to go online and do a live stream for her followers. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I learned how to do this live streaming thing during lockdown. Like so many artists, we were all kind of cut off at the knees by lockdown, and lots of gigs got cancelled and postponed. And so I kind of figured out I've got this little shed, you see, where I do a lot of recording down here. So we trailed an Ethernet cable through the mud, and I quite quickly got my head around all sorts of weird bits of technology. And sometimes it's a bit frustrating when you're trying to emote and you're everything's crashed, which happened a few times, but slowly got used to it. And now I really love live streaming, and I didn't really want to stop after everything opens up again. I think it's really complementary. It goes well with, I love gigging. There's nothing like humans and music in a room and that lovely smell of beer. And I love touring, and I love gigs so much, but I equally really love live streams. I think especially for acoustic music, there's something, I think when people are listening to in acoustic live venues, often there's quite a big pressure to be quiet.
Yeah, and there's a really loud murmur, and you often miss bits.
There is that. But if the hush police are out and everyone's quite quiet, the audience members don't necessarily get a chance to talk to each other. But what I love about live streaming is the chat that goes on. I mean, it's hilarious, and you see people flirting with each other and all kinds of connections being made, and it's gorgeous. So there are, I don't know, there's pros and cons to both, and I've really enjoyed keeping on live streaming, even though we don't have to anymore.
So have you checked, have there been any, sort of long-term relationships or marriages from the flirting that goes on?
That's the question I'm going to put out there tonight. I'll ask.
I think it's important to ask. I think and really they should have you playing at the wedding. So, it's only fair.
Any babies on the
any live streaming babies? Yeah, I possibly don't want to know all the details.
Let's turn the cameras off, please.
Yes.
But it's a lovely thing to be able to do in tandem, I think.
Fantastic. And you guys have got a really kind of busy run up to coming to Deepdale. I know that Deepdale is clearly the peak of all of those, events, but absolutely. But no, you've got a hellishly busy calendar over the next couple of months.
Heavenly, I think you'll find. I'm really looking forward to it. I've actually got quite a few weeks now to be able to prepare, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But yes, Kath and I have got a 20-date tour, and Deepdale, I think, is number 5 or 6, something like that. But then I wish we could stay for the weekend, but we can't because we're playing in Cambridge on the night after, and then
we're just chuffed to have managed to fit you in that program, because you're going to so many venues. It's brilliant, and it's just worked really well that we can sort of almost make it one of the nights of the tour, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it'll be lovely for us to have a festival in amongst all the other more conventional, there's actually quite a nice variety. There's sort of art centres and really different venues. We're playing quite a few churches, so to have it's a real mix. It'll be lovely.
Well, Catherine, of course, played last year in the Brick Barn, and she's coming back with her band this time, so it's going to be quite nice. And she went down an absolute storm. People loved her sort of witty comments and stories in between all the songs. So it's really lovely that she enjoyed it so much that she's coming back. That's fantastic, and Chris is very chuffed.
It's one of the highlights of her year, I think. She talks about it a lot.
That's good. That's
I'm really excited about coming. It's great. She's banging on about how the food.
No pressure.
Well, there's lots of lovely eats as well as everything else. So it's like that's always such a nice. I love festivals and I love festival food. I think it's got so much better in the last sort of 20 years or so. It feels like it's become as much a kind of gastronomic celebration as a musical one. So yeah.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Like, we really shouldn't be people who love outdoor festivals in the UK, because the weather's so bloody unreliable. But for some reason we seem to have gone, hey, let's just embrace this and do it properly, yeah, I don't know, like even festival toilets have improved, although there's still some great examples where they haven't. But I don't know what it is. We've just decided, well, if we're going to get soaking wet, we want to A, listen to some brilliant music, and B, really eat well, and C, drink well. So, if we have all of those things, then sitting in our anoraks in a slightly soggy chair is not the end of the world, as long as we've got 3 of the 4 things. Sun is good, but it's not absolutely necessary to enjoy a festival in the UK. I don't know what it is. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's part of our national psyche somehow. I've
stoical
got memories of picnics in the rain.
Yeah,
sitting around. No, but we are going to have fun. But I mean, if you waited for the weather here, you just never do anything. So
that is very true. That is very true. So you might as well just get on with it. And we've had some festivals where people clearly were getting sunburned, and other festivals where even your underwear was wet. So it's like, who knows which one it's going to be. You just have to wait and see. The Brick Barn, I think you'll quite like the Brick Barn. I think it'll suit your music beautifully. So I think that'll be great.
I'm really looking
great. So are you working on more sort of music right now? Are you writing at the moment, or are you prepping?
Well, I've had an unbelievably productive winter. Out of almost nowhere, I found myself in a sort of fever fit, writing unbelievable amounts of songs, quite unexpectedly, but very happily. I think it was partly because I've been collaborating with a bass player we just had this kind of creative explosion. It was just brilliant. And I think that often happens. Sometimes you meet somebody and your creative frequencies just create something that's greater than the sum of your parts,
Yeah.
So I've been working with him, John Thorne, and we've created all these demos together, but I've managed to find a producer to work with on my next record, which I haven't done this will be album number 6 for me. And I only ever worked with another producer on the second record. And that was 20 years ago. I worked with Ken Nelson, who had worked with Coldplay and Kings of Convenience. I went up to Liverpool and recorded at Par Studios with him. And it was an incredible experience, but a very expensive one. And yeah. And I learned a lot from him, but I've mainly been recording in here, to be honest. All the other records I've done pretty much on my own creative terms. But this one, I'm really excited to be working with someone else. So I'm going to be working with him, this new producer, at the end of the year. So we've blocked out a period of time at the end of November, beginning of December. But we're going to be recording it live. Just great. I'm so excited about it. So John and I are going to go there and throw it all together. But we've got 21 songs at the moment. So that's another reason I'm really looking forward to working with a producer. It's like someone with, it's another pair of ears who can say, let's cut that, focus on this. Because at the moment, it's like children. I love all of them.
So this could be a triple album almost.
I'm trying to avoid that scenario. That would be slightly overindulgent. I think I need a very good prune. But just to be able to work with someone else will be, I'm very excited about it. And it's a big exercise in trust as well. Having been autonomous for this long as well, I'm quite aware of my own, keeping my claws on things tendencies. So I'm working on relaxing and opening and letting things go.
and the writing you're doing with Catherine, are we likely to see an album, kind of a partnership album there?
What's going to happen? I think a couple of these co-writes may end up on her next one, which is wonderful for me. I feel very privileged and honoured for that. But I don't until it's done. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'd love to make a record with Kath. It'd be great. We've got quite a few songs in the bag now that we've co-written. One that she wrote with me here ended up on my last record. So we sort of do this reciprocal exchanges, and you put the material where it works best,
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know, but
very exciting.
We wrote a lovely song last week. I just think it's beautiful. At midnight. It was like I was right at the end of a trip of doing lots of very boring admin for the tour, and it was right at the end of the visit, and I was like, can we try and write something as well, because that would be really, really nice. But we were knackered, and it was right at the end of everything else, and maybe because of that it just, this lovely thing fell out. It was just great.
Brains work in strange ways, don't they? So like you just never quite know. So yeah, but
no, sometimes you kind of have to come at it sideways. And
yeah, definitely.
But, yeah.
Well, really lovely to chat with you, Polly. Thank you so much. I hope your live session goes really well, and enjoy that.
Thank you.
And we really look forward to seeing you in a couple of months' time in the Brick Barn with Catherine. And you've got Matt Watson, a local artist, playing just before you as well. And he's very excited about playing before you guys, so that's going to be very cool. So yeah, I hope the recording and stuff all goes really well, and the rest of the tour goes well, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Brilliant.
Couple of months' time, even.
Couple of months' time, yeah. No, don't say that. My heart stopped. What? Where are we going? Yeah, no, really, yeah. We'll be rolling in our tour van.
And if we play a little sort of snippet of one of your songs, which one would you choose?
I would say maybe Back of Your Hand. It's quite a
Back
good
of Your Hand.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, and keep well, and we'll talk to you soon.
Lovely. Thanks, Jason.
You know I nearly stayed home tonight. I've been burning the candle both ends. I've been a-trailing my paws in the sticky dark ponds of some special old friends. Water and wine, casting my line back forth out there again. And so I scraped on my face with some hair of the dog from the night before. And I'm amazed at the grace of the balm and the poise of his steady free pour. Vodka and gin, that's when my roving eye bumps into yours. I'm gonna write down my number on the back of your hand, and in the morning you'll remember just how lovely I am. You got a face like a story, and a smile I could steal and pretend that I've borrowed. So come on and call me tomorrow.
I am chatting with Matt Watson, aka The Secret Helicopters, or do you prefer it the other way round? The Secret Helicopters,
what?
aka
It's
Matt Watson.
I don't know. It's got to a point where I think it's kind of the two things run alongside one another now.
They are sort of synonymous
Matt
with
Watson
each
is
other.
the Secret Helicopters. The Secret Helicopters is Matt Watson. And Matt Watson also used to be in a band called Huck. I've got to that age where I've got so many things behind me. I'm kind of just playing bits from all of these projects now. So
That's
it's
cool.
me. Yeah, but I'm playing material by Huck, by myself, solo, and the Secret Helicopters project now.
Excellent. Well, Matt is joining us on Thursday of the festival, and he's listed as the Secret Helicopters hyphen Matt Watson.
Yeah,
because
that's
sort
the
of
main two things.
catch all. There we go. He's the first artist of the festival this year.
Come on.
He is opening the festival. Following him will be Paulusma, and then Catherine Williams and her band. So a bloody good Thursday evening, I think we could safely say. How do you feel about being the first act of Deepdale Festival 2023?
Exciting, because I'm an old familiar, really. Do I get to cut a ribbon?
We could probably find one. Okay, yeah,
We'll put it on.
We'll put that on our list.
For me, knowing you guys over the years and watching the festival grow, it's been a pleasure. So it's always a pleasure, and that's for me the one. And it's going to be a pleasure because of the artists that follow on from me on that evening with Catherine and Polly. So I'm just as excited. I always enjoy playing Deepdale. My favourite, I think. You don't have to blush. It's okay.
Well, yes, a significant proportion of that is down to Chris and
Chris's
team.
passion and your passion and the crew and the team there. It's brilliant, and I've watched it every year just grow with all these different artists, and you're a North Norfolk secret that's slowly seeking out into the rest of the sort of consciousness of the music scene, I guess.
I think the nice thing for me is that we haven't had to grow the festival massively in terms of number of people.
Yeah.
To grow the range of artists that we've had, if you see what I mean. So we've got the most lovely, really wonderful, incredibly talented artists coming, and the really nice thing is that we haven't had to get to the point where we've got tens of thousands of people in a field to be able to justify that. We've got to the point where we've got people like Catherine and Polly coming, yourself, you've got Morgan Way, we've got, Leisure Society, we've got India Electric Company and people like that, Michelle
Stoddart. It's great to see Jess Morgan coming back out and playing.
Jess is coming. It's going to be lovely because she headlined our first festival in 2017.
Gosh, was it that long ago?
Yeah. So
Jess is great. So it's really nice to see she's out playing again.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. We went to see her at the Arts Centre the other night. She played a few songs while John Osborne did his new Blur album spoken word piece, which was very funny. So it's his life talking about all the various different Blur albums. How is the creative process going? Are you enjoying your various different guises?
Yeah, I mean, I came and did what I would still term as an experiment last year with using electronics and a laptop and drum loops and all sorts of things, which some worked lovely, some, but I wanted to try it. I'm not doing that this year, purely because I actually found that I can give the passion and the enjoyment the most with me and a guitar, or a selection of guitars this time, but the technology kind of felt it took things away from it for me. So strip the songs back, but the creativity at home and in the studio is, I've got a backlog of stuff I need to go back and remember how to do and finish, and it's a constant sort of rolling thing now. So I'm really enjoying it. Some of it's going to be more stripped back again, a bit more old Matt, and some of it may not be. I don't know, but I've got a backlog. I've got a hard drive just full of songs.
How does the creative process work for you? Is it quick or is it like long and painful?
Suffering artist. I'm not a suffering artist, put it that way. Sometimes it's quick. The initial ideas are often quick, and I'll record things to my phone, or I'll record things to a little digital recorder I've got. Some tracks, the Secret Helicopter stuff is always more involved because that's the point of it. So that takes longer. But then other songs come together the basic idea and structure of a song come together in half an hour, 20 minutes, if it's something that and I've always got ideas floating around, Jason.
Yeah.
It's just, my head's constantly.
You're trying to say it's a scary place.
Yeah, so there's no one way that I tend to do it now. The Secret Helicopter stuff is more based around production and the recordings. Like, it's more of a project around that. But some of the songs have transferred to a live situation. And other stuff, yeah, me and a guitar and soul and heart.
So with all of these different projects, what track am I going to play so that people know kind of what to expect?
Well, now you've really put me on the spot, haven't you? I've got to try and remember my own music.
I didn't think that would be the hardest bit.
I have actually, because I've got a massive piece of paper here with a huge set list of all of the songs that I know that I can still play and sing. I am going to suggest that you play the song Outside by Matt Watson more, just because it's I really love that song. I'm really proud of it, actually. It was a kind of one-off project I did with a local studio. It features Mark Howes on guitar from Dove and Bow Evil. And we did a really cool video where I kind of looked like a weird version of Doctor Who disappearing into a time-traveling suitcase in the video. So definitely check that out. Yeah, Outside. It's one I'm really proud of. It tells a story with the lyrics, which is something I've always tried to do, even with the Secret Helicopter stuff. So yeah, put that one on.
Brilliant. Okay, we will do that Thursday night. In case you haven't checked it out on our website,
the wonderful Catherine Williams.
It's going to be lovely with Polly and Catherine, and yeah, just a really great way to start the festival. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you then.
All right, thank you.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Sands, white-tailed horses greet the land, and the trees, they talk to me. I hear whispers through the leaves, branches reaching out to breathe, but they don't know where I'm from. They can't hear me, to them I'm gone. I'm on the outside looking in, and they don't know who I am. They can't see me, to them I'm gone. I'm on the outside looking in. The sky, it makes me cry. An eagle glides out of sight. Butterfly wing brings thunder, light, and the rain, it follows me, clears away the dirty earth that brings life, hope, death, and birth. But they don't know where I'm from. They can't hear me, to them I'm gone. I'm on the outside looking in.
I am chatting to Phoebe Austin, and she is part of the AWMTV, which is Alton Wahlberg's sort of collection of artists that he thinks that we should know about. And he takes Sunday morning on the Orchard stage and presents to our wonderful festival goers at Deepdale Festival a group of artists who he thinks are awesome. And Phoebe is one of those. And I think, Phoebe, you win the youngest performer this year, probably. So congratulations on that. And it's going to be lovely having you with us. Have you ever been to Deepdale Festival before?
No, I haven't. I'm not a very festivally person. A lot of the time, I'm quite a need to be at home person.
Got you.
If you can say that. But I'm branching out a lot more recently as I'm getting older, and looking forward to having some new experiences.
Fantastic. So, and do you know how many songs and stuff you'll be playing? Has Alton sort of defined that? Do you know what sort of where you're set?
I have a rough idea.
Yeah.
not set in stone one. I'm a bit of a last minute person, unfortunately.
That's okay. I think that you're allowed to be if you're if you're a performer. I think that's perfectly allowed. That's good. And how would you describe your music? What will people what can people expect from your performance?
I get asked this question a lot, and I think it's a difficult one because I tend to lean kind of folky in ways and then poppy in ways, and it's kind of like a weird meld of genres because I grew up listening to so many different things. But all I can say is that my main passion and my main selling point, as it were, is the fact that I absolutely love writing songs and have had a lot of people tell me I'm good at it. So good songwriting and awkward chats is what you can expect from me.
Well, don't worry. Catherine Priddy, who you probably are aware of, and if you're not, you should be. She performed a couple of years ago at Deepdale, and I think we all thought she was absolutely wonderful. But it was quite funny. She was saying she was sort of still getting used to that chatting between the songs and explaining the story and stuff. So I don't think it's something you need to worry about immediately. I think get the body of work there and then sort of worry about the stories, even if you make those up separately to the songs, about how those songs came about. I think that'll be absolutely fine. So that's cool. And how is the creative process for you? Are you one of those people who just is constantly got a brain full of songs that you just sort of blurt out and kind of become something bigger, or is it quite a drawing blood from a stone process?
I think that really depends on the time of the year for some reason, actually.
Okay.
I go through stints of literal madness where I will not stop writing, and my family and my partner, they just absolutely hate it because I'll just disappear for like half an hour, and then I'll come be like, you've got to listen to these new 5 songs that I've just written, and they'll be like, we're in the middle of dinner, like what are you doing? So I definitely have long stints of that, but then I also find that I have really long stints of just trying to write, and it is like trying to get blood out of stone. It's painful, but I think that just comes down to the fact that I bleed myself dry creatively, and then I need that frustration to drive me back into it.
Got you. That makes sense. And what tends to come first, the words or the melody, sort of the tune?
I think for me it's usually words.
Right.
I tend to often I'll hear a phrase. I'll be on my phone, or I'll be watching TV, or I'll be talking to someone, and I'll hear a phrase, and all of a sudden it'll be like click, and then it will just be like I'll be on my phone, not listening to the person I'm talking to, writing something down, and then I'll go back and I'll kind of work it out through either my piano or with my guitar, or even just sing it in my head like a lunatic. So it's random. Sometimes I will get a melody and I will just sit in a corner of a room being like into my phone like ha ha ha. So it's a variation, but usually words.
What's more enjoyable for you? Is it the process of creating the songs, or is it performing them?
Oh gosh, I don't know, because they are such different ends of the spectrum. I think for me, writing is such an integral part of my day-to-day life. Like if I couldn't write, I would be a nightmare. I think it's the only way I can process a lot of things that happen. But then when it comes down to performing, it's just seeing people's reaction for the first time. It's unmatched. So I think both have their absolute like upsides, and I think for me, I think I find writing more comfortable, but I definitely enjoy performing a lot and have done since a very young age.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, we are really looking forward to you being part of Deepdale Festival. Really looking forward to it, and we will all enjoy the AWM TV sort of sets out on Sunday morning in the Orchard. There's yoga first, and there's sort of very calming meditation bowls, and then AWM TV come on, and and entertain. So by that point, people have sort of nested and they've created their space and they've got their first pint, and they're looking forward to the music ahead. So it'll be great to have you as part of Deepdale Festival. It'll be really good. What track should I play that would sort of give people a hint of what's to come?
Well, I think that you should play my newest track, which is a song called Crossfire that came out in May.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That's really lovely to chat with you, Phoebe, and we will see you at the end of September.
Running round town, running me around, trying to pin down what you mean now when you tell me that you're done. Making old sounds, putting me down. Did you mean it when it went down? That you wished you could have run? 'Cause now my mind is saying, ooh, I don't know you anymore, but I want to, yes I want to. My heart is saying, ooh, I won't give up, I want more. But I told you, yes I told you, but you never listen. 'Cause it's all gone, was it all gone? Did I go wrong? Did I go wrong? 'Cause we had it in the palm of our hands, all of our plans. Now they're pawns in a game of demands. Did you hear me saying, when it's gone quiet?
I am chatting with Lewis from Toast Poetry. Many of you will have seen Toast at, well, many events, but you will have seen them at Deepdale previously when they made people cry in a good way rather than a bad way, but they made people cry with their free poems that they created. Basically, you go along, you have a chat with them, you tell them a particular story or information, and if you can't really think of that, they ask you some very good questions, and they create these amazing poems. And people take them away, and then you see them crying fairly shortly afterwards, and it's very lovely to see. But they also perform very funny sort of slam poetry where Daisy destroys Lewis in front of the public. So that always goes down well. Last festival in 2022, they came on the Friday. This year they are booked for both Friday and Sunday, and we're really looking forward to them joining it. They will be in the Orchard writing poems, and then they're going to be performing on the Courtyard stage at various points, doing their sort of slam poetry, which is great, and performing stuff. So, how is Toast Poetry going? Are you enjoying because you guys do lots of stuff and you have your own events and stuff and everything, don't you? So
hello, hi Jason. Yes, I'm Lewis, and I'm one of the directors of Toast Poetry, which is a tiny poetry company based in Norwich. And we do lots of different things. So like primarily the thing we do is that every month we have a live poetry show in Norwich, usually at the Refectory Cafe, which is in Norwich Cathedral. It's this beautiful sort of vaulted ceiling, sort of like sanctified place that we bring down with silly poems and some slightly dirty jokes and some of the best poets from all over the world. And so right now we're on our sort of summer break, which means that we aren't actually having a break, we're doing a tour. So we've been in Norwich doing the Lord Mayor's Parade, doing poems for the good people of Norwich. We are off to King's Lynn to do some free poems for them. We've been down to Mildenhall in Suffolk. We're doing a big show in Great Yarmouth on the 29th of July. Then we're going to Sheringham. At some point in between that, we're going to Newmarket. I think we're going to Wilderness as well. And then our whole summer ends with the beautiful Deepdale Festival, where we spend 2 days. I mean, like, this doesn't really work for the podcast, but in air quotes, working, i.e., hanging out at a beautiful festival, drinking Moongazer beer. We might even camp this year. It's a big step for us. We're not really camping people,
particularly if you've got a small puppy. So that could be really interesting.
And then we'll be watching music and performing poems. So yeah, that's basically what Toast does. We tour around the UK and Norfolk specifically, writing poems to people, reading poems to people, and it's a delight. And it's a very like audience focused thing. We think about the poems like there's I think it's like a Betjeman thing that he said that like most people aren't interested in poetry because most poetry isn't interested in most people. We always look for poems that are interested in people. We take poetry to people who were like, we think you're going to like this because this is a poem about love, or this is a poem about your dog, or this is a poem about like, even if it's about something like obscure, like quantum biology or something, we're like, there's something in this that you as, I don't know, a builder or an architect or a lawyer or a barista is going to understand and it's going to interest you. So that's our basic philosophy.
Yeah, I remember the group of ladies who come to quite a lot of our events, and they were sitting quite close to where you guys were writing the poems, and they were kind of quite. I think they were quite kind of skeptical of whether it would be worth coming to have them done. And eventually, I think you or Daisy persuaded one of them that it would, they couldn't really hurt to come and have a free poem. Yeah. And I think after that, they all then came and got the poems ready because they were sitting around reading them and all crying together, which was kind of a really. I thought it was kind of it was very funny, but it was also very poignant of the fact that they were, they kind of been really skeptical, and then they were, oh, actually, yes, we quite like this. Well, this is quite good. So
the free poem stall that we do at Deepdale, which is not a unique thing to us. Like there are other people who do it in various different ways. But it's, as you described it really beautifully, it's the opportunity for someone to come up to you and basically order a poem, commission a poem about whatever they want. So therein, the creativity, like whilst I'm not going to take anything away from me and Daisy Henwood, who's the other director of Toast, it's a skill and it's an art to be able to hold that information and to put it in a form and to think about how to best put those words together. There is something deeply creative about our audience. I always think that audiences are creative, right? For any art, whether it's you go into a gallery or it's you sitting, listening to a folk musician or it's listening to poetry or responding to poetry. Like it's a creative act in and of itself. And so like, I think we just sort of like pull on those threads a little bit, and we ask the right questions, and that we take that skepticism, and that actually leads to people being much more open than you would think. We don't take liberties. We don't, I always say like, we're writers, not therapists. We can break you apart. We can't put you back together. Go where you're comfortable. But like, if you want to tell me something, you're probably never going to see me again. Like, it's going to be fine. And even if you do see me again, I'm probably not going to remember your poem because I wrote, 60 others today. So it's both a deeply personal thing and something that someone can have a bit of anonymity in. And it's delightful. And especially the people at Deepdale who do it, they come with an open-heartedness and a thoughtfulness. And obviously at Deepdale, they come from all different walks of life. But they share a unique kind of creativity, something that makes them good listeners, good communicators. And honestly, I think so many people just want to be listened to, and that's a space that we provide with our free poem stall.
Yeah. I remember seeing it at the Norwich Lanes. I think we met the first time, and and always. And I think you wondered where on earth Burnham Deepdale was. And as most artists who we first approached to come and perform there, I remember the Shackleton Trio lot. We were like, what? Where? what are you talking about? And they're now sort of stalwarts of our regulars. So no, it's funny. It's sort of developed and grown from there. But no, I'm really glad we discovered you, and I'm really glad that you have enjoyed the experience of being with us, and will be back again with us. It'd be great. And if people wanted to kind of hear you or see you guys, do you have YouTube channel or Instagram channel or something that they can kind of look up and just get a kind of a taster of what you guys do?
Yeah. So best place to find us is either on Instagram, so at Toast Poetry UK, or via our website, toastpoetry.com. Therein you can find the links to all the other things that we do. But yeah, that is the beating heart on the internet face of Toast. Because the other thing that we do is, like, whilst I, Lewis Buxton, and Daisy Henwood are the directors, and we do a lot of the performing and the hosting and the writing of poems, we also really believe in creating a platform for other artists. One of the artists we're working with at the moment, who I know Deepdale know as a singer, Jess Morgan, is also a poet that we work with a lot. And so there's some really beautiful like crossovers there, and Jess is someone that we want to platform because, like, if you've ever heard her lyrics, you'll understand what an incredible writer she is. This is not me trying to position poetry in any way above lyrics or lyrics above poetry. I think they exist in one.
But they're so interrelated. You can't.
It's one gorgeous spectrum of.
I'm a big Six music listener, and there's just not that line between poetry and music now. No. The two. Bob Dylan was a poet. And you listen to his particularly his earlier stuff, his lyrics there when he was performing in Greenwich Village and stuff like that. He was basically performing poetry with a guitar in hand. And Jess did a lovely piece at the Norfolk and Norwich Festival in the Speakeasy, where she did her piece, and she's performing at Deepdale this year, which is wonderful because she headlined, or one of the headliners of our first festival back in 2017. So it's sort of really nice to kind of go back.
So, but yeah, you've got all these incredible artists all over Norfolk who are creating amazing stuff across that spectrum. And the lovely thing about Deepdale is that it introduces us to a different audience, right? It introduces poetry to people who are predominantly music fans, and so that just allows for the idea that I don't believe in arts or music or poetry or anything to be a competition. I always want it to be a community, and that's the thing I've always seen reflected at your festivals. There are artists supporting one another. There are producers like you engaging with us and the audience and everyone. So it doesn't become this sort of hierarchy of talent or intrigue or fame. It's always a matter of like, how are we best connecting with each other? And it's delightful.
Fantastic. Well, we're really looking forward to your return to Deepdale. We will see you on Friday the 22nd and on Sunday the 24th of September. Keep well, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much, Jason. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to part one of the Deepdale Festival podcast 2023. This was part one of what will be 4 or 5 parts, and we hope you'll listen to the rest of them. If you'd like to know any more information about Deepdale Festival, the best place to look is deepdalefestival.co.uk. The event itself takes place on the 21st of September through to the 24th of September, and we host over 40 different artists on 3 different stages around the Deepdale site. It's a wonderful weekend with a heart of folk, but just generally great music. Come and join us.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of samphire, sea, lavender, sea.